bookish friends. It's your girl Alyssa, and I am here with the brilliant, the coolest, a book blogger, a podcaster. This is Alesia. Alesia, without further ado, introduce yourself.
Yes, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk books with you. I am the host of the We Read Smut podcast, as well as We Read Smut on Instagram, Substack, the website, all the things. And I started like my romance reading in about 2020 and just absolutely was like going through a lot of libido issues at the time. I just had my second kid a couple years before that and was like, what is going on? I need to read for some fun. Picked up some erotica on Amazon and was like, oh, okay. So this is what this is about. This is how we maybe fix this problem. And so pretty much from there, I think it was in November, and I had been pushing myself to read one book at least a year, trying so hard, and I could not do it. I was trying to read self-development, and I read 14 books between November and the end of that year. And I was like, I just needed to read for fun.
100%. I think there's so much freedom that can be found in the sexy, smutty, spicy genre. Personally for me, like being in college, it's been great to dive into like thrillers. It's been great to dive into horror and things like that. But when I need a palate cleanser, for lack of a better word, I love a good spicy read. I do have a few favorite authors out there. Daisy Jane, I think, is great for more romance and then a sprinkle of spice. Like Christina Forrest, I think, does intimacy beautifully. There are so many amazing authors who do spice on different levels, which leads me to a question for you before we dive into your top 10 spice recommendations, which I know was a hard question. I'm sorry about it, Alicia. I'm sorry about it. What do you define as the spice genre? And how do you like measure the levels of spice?
Yeah, so when we talk about smut, that usually involves some type of open door. We're using graphic language when we're talking, like when there's actual intimacy scenes in the book. But how I categorize the spice levels, I do a 1 through 5. I'm going to look off to the side for those watching on YouTube. So the first one is sweet and spicy. So there's no description at all. It is fade to black, usually, is what we would categorize that one as, or no spice. Second is warm. There are some physical details described, but it's not super graphic. It might be something like, there might be a little bit of the foreplay in there, but then once they start banging, it's like, and then he made love to me the whole rest of the night, right? Like it's kind of like that. You're kind of like, ooh, you're teasing me. Stop. The third is hot. This is where the majority of the contemporary romances and your basics, romances do come up on. There's graphic terms, activities that are usually beyond vanilla. And then 4 is burning. So that is explicit with lighter kinks. So there might be some spanking, some light bondage. Maybe there's a bit of a breeding kink in there or something like that. And then 5 is erotic with heavier kinks. So BDSM, consent, non consent, more breath play. Because I find that breath play tends to be a little further on the scale of spice for some people. And so that's how I categorize those. And so as we go through these, I'll try to remember as best I can where they fall. But some of these, as I was trying to come up with like, okay, five-star books, also open door spice that are like, oh yes, they've got some good spice to them and would be good recommendations. A lot of these I read a few years ago. And I have found that lately when I'm reading books, even though it might be a 5 spice, it falls lackluster. Just because I read so much. I read about 100 to 200 books a year. So anywhere in there. And the only time I don't read spice is accidentally. So it's always my intention to read open door spice. So yeah, it's hopefully they'll land with people where they're like, yes, this is spicy. I love it. And we'll have the spices in there and the kinks and the things that they can expect for each. But yeah, I'm excited to get into them.
I'm excited too. There was one book that you recommended that I actually had mentioned on another episode with my friend Alex from Alex the Bibliophile. She's an amazing blog. Definitely check her out. She mentioned a book that you also put on your top 10. Interesting. Interesting. So I added it to my Kindle Unlimited. A lot of your books were on Kindle Unlimited, which I
Yeah.
absolutely love. this is not an ad, but I really appreciate it because you can support a lot of indie authors on there.
Right.
And sometimes they're books you can't find in like a Barnes Noble, or you can't find it in your local Walmart or your Target or your used bookstore. Sometimes the only way to find them is through a third party website or through Amazon. So I mean, I absolutely love that you provided so many with that option. I also want to say that I really appreciate that you put in your bio that you were Afro Latina,
Mhm.
that you're a bi book cat. I love that. And I also just really appreciate how you're constantly recommending diverse romance recommendations. I think that's so important. It's very easy to go with the flow of what is current or what's blowing up on social media. And I do think sometimes that the love for the book genre and actually reading and reviewing gets lost.
Right.
And I wanted to know a little bit about how you feel about the importance of diversity in the romance genre on multiple levels, racial, gender, sexuality. Like, what does that mean to you as you continue your blog?
Yeah, that was something that I discovered, I want to say early 2024 when I was reviewing my stats because I love a good chart and a good table and all the data. Like, give it to me, give it to me. And so I was looking at some of my stats and I was like, honestly disappointed with myself with where I saw between the racial diversity of the authors, racial diversity of the characters, as well as the sexual diversity. It was really lacking. And it was because I was kind of passively just letting the algorithm feed me things, taking recommendations based off of what I had previously read. And I really had to tailor my algorithm. I had to start following diverse creators, diverse authors, and even like body diversity too. That one was a big one that I wasn't seeing a lot of people talking about at that time. And so once I started doing that, I actually found that there was a lot more substance to the characters. And I don't know if it's just because, people who have a multitude of, what are yous in them, that they're able to kind of have these more fleshed out, fully formed characters that do have nuance that aren't, you kind of mentioned this before we hit record of like, oh, it's a white guy, it's Henry Cavill, right? Like that's kind of the go-to. But when you think of a certain character, like I don't know that I can think of a celebrity that makes me think of this character because they're so fleshed out and they're so dynamic in how they are and nuanced in how their characters created. And I found that the stories that I was reading were just so much better. And so I'm like, everybody needs to read these. And I also understand that because of that, I'm not going to have the huge following. I'm not going, and I'm also not dancing anywhere. So you're not going to find that. So that also might, stop me from blowing up on TikTok or any of those places. I actually don't even have a TikTok just because I refuse to dance.
I don't either. I don't have a TikTok because I find
No.
it very overstimulating.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but the few times I have, I think I tried to make a page a few years ago. It was really hard for me to focus on a single post because there were so many comments and then there was all these tags of what they were selling, and then it felt incredibly overwhelming. It felt like being inside of a Target during Christmas time. It was just really overwhelming. Versus with Instagram, I felt like I could focus on an individual post, an individual recommendation, or a review.
Yeah.
I also liked the carousel. It didn't push me to the next post right away. And it didn't feel like they were pushing, like, I'm selling this newest bookmark. I'm selling this light that you need. Part of the beauty of reading, especially reading a spicy book, was that you could kind of melt into the story
Right.
and like kind of, just relax for a bit. And I just think that the book business has always been a business. But book lovers, I feel like it's always felt very vulnerable. You say a lot about yourself about what you're reading,
Yeah.
um, and what you allow your mind to kind of drift off into. And I don't want to, I hope we never lose the joy of that because it's so special. And your blog to me only highlights how special that is. And I think it's amazing what you've created. I will, of course, link it below, along with your podcast and all the amazing things. But I've held on to you for too long. We must dive into your top 10 spicy book recommendations. Knowing you read like 200 books a year, I've also dove into the beauty of reading so many books in a year. Picking your top 10 is hard, especially in a genre. So let's hop into your first book choice in your top 10.
Yes. So I went with Shadowlands Omega. This is book two of the Beasts of Gadamora by Elizabeth Stevens. And if anyone's seen my bookshelf, it's a little fuzzy right here with Zoom, but literally this entire shelf is Elizabeth Stevens, and then behind me is also Elizabeth Stevens. I'm obsessed with her characters, but what I love about this one, this is one of the first ones I read where it was a female Dom in an Omegaverse relationship, which is very like if you know anything about Omegaverse, there's the alphas. It's the social dynamics. They're very standard. The alphas, they're big. They maybe have servants. They're usually like very aggressive and assertive and domineering. The Omegas kind of have to give way to whatever their body is doing at the time to be like, all right, I'm predisposed to be submissive. And Elizabeth flipped that on its head, which I absolutely loved. And so in this one, it's got that crawl to me where she's saying it to him and get on your knees for me. She's saying it to him and he's like, please, can I just have a taste? And she's like, I don't know, do you deserve it? Like, eat it up. I am here for it. It's so stinking good. So that is my number one. I would recommend reading Dark City Omega first so you can kind of get into the world, but it is high fantasy, so you've got like a whole other world, different characters, different dynamics that I think the first book really helps lay out. But yes, so good.
I love that you started off with an Omegaverse. One of my favorites is Lavender Moon. I love that Omegaverse. Super short, super steamy. And I was like, one of my descriptions for spicy book recommendations is like food. I love anything with the metaphor of food. When I first started the podcast, I think my steamy, like the hottest level, it's kind of messy, it's very passionate, and the storyline is like minimal. It was like an extra hot mocha latte with cream. Like it's a bit of a mess, but it's so decadent and so amazing. And then the lowest level of spice was like a cappuccino. It's got that heat and it's got the yearning, but the spiciness, the fluffiness is only like minimal.
Right.
I don't know. I'm a foodie, I'm a girly. And I was like, yeah, describe it to me as a metaphorical food. Yeah.
Right. Love
I was
that.
like, yeah, keep this back big. Let's go. Yeah. Let's keep these curves full. Okay. It's a full-time
Yes.
job. Next is what is your second choice in your top 10?
Yes, Tempted by Danger by Endiya Carter. That one is a black romance. The entire series is just so delicious. But this
Mm.
starts the series off as a workplace. There is a no fraternizing clause, and so it's definitely a bit of forbidden. You definitely are not supposed to be messing with your boss. But she also is like, I need some money. And so there's a sex club auction that happens. And of course, her big billionaire boss is there. So there's a bit of public play, got that Dom sub relationship, as well as orgasm denial, which I find that just tasty sometimes.
I am a praise queen. We love praise in the spicy book. There's
Yes.
something about the like talk you through it, as Kaylani says, the energy.
Mhm.
It's very beautiful. If we can find a book that matches the song, there is something about like, I don't know, Say Yes by Floetry. If you can find a book that matches that energy, yeah. Yeah. Or like Diary by Alicia Keys. Before we started recording, I was like, Alicia, you were like, Alicia. And I was like, dun 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 dun. And I didn't know, has anyone done that to her? No. Was I crazy to do it? Yes. I'm sitting here. Have you tried getting box braids and walking next to a street and looking into the shadows and like, getting some bangles on, you could really become your truest self. A 90s version of Alicia Keys. The call from the coffee shop. I
Yep.
put real milk in there for you. I'm supposed to do water. It was a moment. It was a moment, and I'm
So
not going to
good.
be judged for it. I'm not going to be judged for it. I may have been young, but my heart was ready. I was ready. Okay, on to your third book choice. What is your third book choice for your spicy book recommendations?
Yes. So this one is Queenie and the Krakens by Alira Anaya Cerez, aka Jade Hernandez. And Jade Hernandez is her contemporary romance pen name. And her kind of more monsters or supernatural is Alira Anaya Cerez. And this one, it is Latinx and main characters. Jade is Mexican, and so she's got all that, like a lot of diversity in her books. And she also has, if you're into cowboys and you want some Hispanic cowboys that are dirty talking, she's got those too. So definitely go check those out. But in this one, what I loved is that you have like a motorcycle club of shifter mermen. It's got Y choose. It's got a bit of the age gap because there's a variety between the Y choose. But what I love is that they're like, all right, we're gonna go save her. And she is literally already blown up the ship and on her way back. And I'm like, I just love a female main character that's like, I don't need you to save me. Literally
She's
just be at
like,
my back. That's
yeah,
it.
she's like, just back me up. They're like, let
Right.
me in. She's like, back me up, back me up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
So I
here
love
for
that.
it. That is so fun. Okay. What is your fourth choice? And why is it a little bit lower on the totem pole?
Yes. So honestly, I don't know that these are like in order. Literally all of these are just top tier,
Reasonable.
honestly. Yes. This one was harder for me because I picked an Alexandria House, and if you have read any of Alexandria Houses, you know every single one is top tier goddess level. And if you listen to the audiobooks, Alexandria House tends to have Jacoby Diem and Wesley Siobhan doing the audiobook. So if you are an audiobook girly, those two together will talk you through it. Yes, it is so good.
You
So,
don't say. You
yes.
don't say.
And I'm pretty sure if you have the Audible subscription, most of her books are free through the like Audible Plus or whatever that they have sometimes going on. But in this one, we've got a single mom and a single dad, a rapper, and she is kind of just trucking through life, trying to figure her life out. And he shows up and is like, "Hello, I like you. Let me take care of you." Beautiful.
Ooh.
There's not anything particularly kinky, but I could not not have an Alexandria house on here because there's always a delivery on the spice,
Mm.
always in some way that, yeah. And with those particular narrators, it is a time. So highly
Ooh.
recommend.
I love that. I think that narration, especially in audiobooks, sometimes can be incredibly immersive in any genre. For some reason, in the romance genre, especially if it's like a duet, it's I'm a visual reader. I can see it all in my mind, which makes spice even better. But also, it just makes like the intimate and sweet moments and the moments where they're falling for each other feel even more real. So I
Yeah.
love that you highlighted the importance of like those narrators specifically. That's so cool. That is so
Yeah.
cool. Okay, what is your fifth choice?
Just for the Cameras by Viano Oniomo, and I really hope that I'm saying their name correctly. Maybe not. They're an African author. I want to say Nigeria.
Mm.
And what I love about this one is that you have sex workers. It's a couple. They do camming, and that's how they make money. They have a kind of roommate. I guess they call it a flatmate because they're living in like London or something like that. But
Mm.
they have a roommate who they both are totally obsessed with, and he's a little oblivious to how they feel because he's demisexual, which demisexual, for people who might not know, that just means that you have to know someone and get to know them more on a friendship level before you can feel sexual attraction. And it is a spectrum. So you might feel it a little bit, you might not feel it, you might have to wait a long time, or you might have to just like get to know them a little bit. There's a spectrum to it. Um, and so that one I love just because it's a really great representation of sex work. And I think that romance can really portray these in a way that allows us to have more empathy and understanding of people who do have work like this. That it's like, the media would be like, oh, shun, shame, all these things while everybody's watching porn. But in this case, it's like, no, this is literally my job and this is what we're doing. And this is how we plan it. And then this is how it maybe supports or doesn't support our relationship. And so I really like that one. It is MMF. So the two male main characters do interact sexually. There is a pierced peen in that one. So
Ooh.
that one's good.
Heard, heard, heard. If anyone else loves a pierced peen, cucumber, whatever you want to call it,
Eggplant.
eggplant. I also recommend Gianna Darling's most recent book in the Fallen Men series. That features a girl, like one of the covers is like her with blue hair. There is a character, there is a pew pew, there's a fight a situation at a gas station. She works behind the desk. He sees her. It's instant chemistry. He's pretty faced, he's very cocky, for lack of a better word, and he may or may not have a interesting accessory.
Yes.
So we'll leave that there. We'll leave that there. We'll leave that there. What is your sixth choice? This is the one that people keep recommending me, and it's now on my Kindle.
Yes. Okay, so The Oath by T.M. Richardson. This one, do not sleep on it. The cover looks like, oh, it's a cute little white. No, 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 no. It is cute, but it is so deeply feeling. We have a widower who is going through the grief. She is struggling, and this is a mature romance, so all the characters are over 40, which I find really great. And she is getting support from her late husband's best friends. There are three of them, and under the guise of, wait a minute, I had no idea, he told them to, quote, take care of me after he was gone. And so they are doing their duty, so to speak, very happily.
Oh,
There is some sex club stuff going on, a little bit of voyeurism in there. And there is also MMF scenes where there are males who do interact sexually in that one. But it is, I think, so deeply feeling that it really just it stays with you because there are those elements of grief that can like, yeah, you think, oh, it's just smut. No, like these characters are going through so much as they're processing, things that every single one of us will eventually or already have dealt with in our lives. So that one, top tier, so good.
oh, I love a good second chance romance. And when there's an opportunity to love again, I think it's very beautiful. And you can still respect that person's previous relationship and story.
Yeah.
Spicy books can have a lot of substance, and romance can give a lot to someone, and they can explore things that maybe they haven't been able to explore in their real life, learn about things that maybe they can't learn about in their community. So spice provides so much in love and care and lessons that some people may not have learned in the real world, but they learn it through books. And I love that you're providing so many amazing and diverse recommendations, which brings me to, what is your seventh and eighth book choice?
Yes. So we have Streams and Schemes by Rebecca Kincaid. This one is a neighbor's one. The female main character is a sex worker. He is her highest paying tipper, of
Ooh.
course. And it starts off with there is a missile inbound. Everybody gets a text saying missiles inbound. Everybody find shelter. They have nowhere to go, so they bang it out as one does at the end of the world. Oh, wait, there's not actually a missile inbound. Awkward. We are neighbors. And so this one's really great. There is a breeding, but no pregnancy. Lots of toys, praise on both ends, good girl, good boy. And that one is really fantastic. It also has quite a bit of found family between her and the other two female main characters for book two and book three. So, highly recommend that. His to Claim by Taylor Vaughn is number 8. That is Eve Vaughn and Theodora Taylor. They joined forces and created this kind of series of alien romances, and it's different than your typical beam me up ones or kidnapped in that it's hundreds of years after humans have landed on a planet. They're alien overlords. They have an agreement that all of the women, once they reach the age of 21, will be chased and impregnated by the alien overlords, whether they want to or not. So there is dubious consent in this one. And breeding, of course. And so there's that. And then if they give birth to a son, the aliens take the son. If they give birth to a female, then she stays with the people. And they have kind of multicoloring because the aliens are like very jewel toned. So you'll have a human looking woman, but she'll be maybe black and also have like red swirl tones to her, which is really interesting. But what I love about this is it was just such a spin on the typical alien romances, also super spicy, a little bit of a screw you to the prince, and also them discovering, oh, wait, this is how the humans are actually dealing with this. Let's make changes to what's happening in this world. So that one, yeah, it's very good, but definitely check your triggers because, like I said, there's some dubious consent in there that I think if you're not comfortable with, just maybe skip this one.
Mm. I wanted to bring up another book that I've seen floating on Instagram, and I really appreciate books that represent disability, that also touch on the complexities of communication in a relationship. So, what is your ninth book choice?
Yes, my ninth book choice is Hear My Heart by Tay Monet. And that one is forbidden. It is her fiance's brother. I love a forbidden ex's anything. I just read one recently and it was delicious. I ate it up. So good. And so,
Mm.
like, literally anything that's like, oh, he's my ex, or it's my current brother, or my current sister, I do not care. It is just so good. So, that one has that. So, there is that forbidden element, but the female main character is deaf, which is a disability that I don't think I'd seen in romance, especially diverse romance. So, in this one, both the main characters are black, and it has cheating, of course. Because she's engaged to his brother. But he's also a piece of trash. Very clearly throughout the whole book, we want her to not be with that guy. And
Mm.
the male main character is a pleasure dom. So that makes it extra delicious.
It's a holiday. It's Christmas. It's a gift. It's a gift. Oh, his number one priority is her joy and her happiness.
Yes.
Oh
Here
wow.
for it.
Oh wow.
And he learns
Wow.
sign language for her, which is like her
Oh,
fiance never,
that
never.
is so sweet. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
my Kindle. I will never financially recover from this. What is your 10th book choice?
Okay, this one is, oh man, I want to say, I don't know what it is about this book. I read it in like 2022, but it will stick with me for the rest of my life. And I don't
Mm.
know if it was just the first book that was like this, but it is dark. It is this woman hires a guy to consensually, non-consensually attack her in her home, not realizing this is a man who's been trying to get revenge on her for quite some time because of what he thought happened when they were a lot younger. So it's got that revenge plot. It's a dark thriller. Obviously very kink heavy, consent non-consent, which means you are consenting to a role-playing non-consensual situation.
Mm.
That's what CNC or consent non-consent means. Very kink heavy, but definitely dark. Please check your triggers. But it has that definitely scarred male main character, the female main character that's just like, I need something to happen in my life. My life is so boring. And so they clash. It's quite a time. But yeah,
Mm.
this one, it will stick with me forever.
Ooh. As we close out the episode, I wanted to ask one, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You are divine.
Yes.
And two, where can everyone find you on social media? Where can they follow your podcast?
Yes. So we read Smut on all the things. My podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts. So wherever you're listening to this one, go hop on over afterwards. Leave a rating review for Elisa, please. Um, it definitely helps us. So definitely leave that rating review, comment, whatever you need to do to support this show. And then go check out my show over there. We read Smut, and I do interviews with authors. Some of the people that I've mentioned, authors that I've mentioned in my list, I've actually interviewed. So if you want to know more about them, you can do that. Also, the blog We Read Smut or the Instagram account We Read Smut.
You're absolutely amazing. I will have all of that linked in the show notes below. I think it's amazing what you're doing with all your wonderful recommendations. And you take so much time and care with every post, with every episode. It is an act of love to recommend with so much in mind. And I also made sure to continue your list below in the show notes of all the books you mentioned. So everyone, please check out those amazing book recommendations. I also hope to have you back on the podcast in the future because I just want to spend more time talking to you. You're so cool. So I just want to leave it at that. You're amazing. Please go follow her podcast, her Instagram, her blog. It'll all be in the show notes below. Like and subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify, and leave a nice little rating, of course. And go check out her podcast too, y'all. Have a wonderful weekend, a great day. And once again, keep reading. Bye.